Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Brussels International Conference on Oppressed Nations in Pakistan and Human Rights Violations. The leaders of Pashtun, Baloch, Kashmiri, and Sindhi nations are gathered here in Brussels Press Club, Europe, in Belgium, today on 22nd December at this international conference. Faced with imminent economic, social, political, and security collapse, Pakistan, in desperation, promulgates draconian laws and uses harsh instruments to silence dissenting voices of the historical nations. Pakistan violates with impunity the basic fundamental rights of oppressed nations and is involved in gross human rights violations like enforced disappearances, extra-judicial killings, arbitrary detentions, and torture. The arbitrary detention of Pashtun Tahaffuz Movement leader Manzoor Ahmad Pashteen is the recent example of these violations. And yesterday you would have seen on social media what has happened to our brothers and sisters, Baloch brothers and sisters in Islamabad. The brutal crackdown on innocent women, children, and men with water cannons and baton. They were beaten with batons in Islamabad, and they were not allowed to register their protest in Islamabad. At this conference, our distinguished leaders and panelists and international experts will discuss the challenges and devise strategies to find solutions for their problems. Now, I would like to invite our first speaker, Dr. Naseem Baloch, the chairman of BNM, Balochistan National Movement, to discuss the prevailing situation in Balochistan and the historical perspective of the Baloch struggle. Dr. Naseem Baloch, you can speak from the dais. Thank you.
Thanks to all. Ladies and gentlemen, I extend my sincere gratitude to the Pashtun Tahaffuz Movement for inviting me to present the Baloch resistance and the Baloch National Movement's stance for the independence of Balochistan and for the rights of the Baloch people at this crucial conference. Thanks. The regions of Baloch, Pashtun, Sindhi, Kashmir, and Gilgit-Baltistan find themselves immersed in turmoil, where violations of human dignity and rights have sadly become commonplace. The Pakistani army and its secret agencies perpetrate mass massacres, forcibly disappearing thousands of individuals in front of helpless witnesses. These victims endure inhuman torture in Pakistan's torture cells, resulting in numerous custodial deaths. Their bodies are carelessly disposed of in forests, deserts, or by roadsides, or worse, they are killed in fake encounters. For 2 long decades, our people have suffered in the clutches of the army, leaving their families in perpetual agony. The Baloch, Pashtun, Sindhi, and Kashmiri nations all face unspeakable atrocities. In response, our mothers and sisters have bravely embarked on a long march, a peaceful protest against the ongoing Baloch genocide that has persisted for 2 decades. Pakistan, in its relentless pursuit to silence any voice raised for truth, employs violence, imprisonment, and killing. Here also the participants of the Long March were imprisoned on reaching Islamabad, as our friend Afridi said in the intro, and they were forced to go back to Quetta. But yesterday late night, the participants of the Long March and their leaders, they refused to go back to Quetta. They were imprisoned, they were beaten. Still there are news that more than 100 of men are in different police stations and jails in Islamabad and its surrounding. Today, the wheel of state operation has been lifted as the people courageously challenged the fear of militarism, raising their voices collectively from cities to rural areas, from plains to mountain ranges, and evident to our collective success and the defeat of our oppressors. Ladies and gentlemen, as we are aware, as educated individuals, let us realistically assess our capacity to halt further bloodshed, to curb human rights abuses, or compel the withdrawal of enemy troops to the barracks. Regrettably, the reality is harsh. We, as enslaved and colonized people, cannot fully achieve these goals through advocacy alone. While raising our voices may reduce some atrocities, but complete eradication remains elusive. We are not free. We are subjugated, and our status can never be equal to that of our oppressors. In this modern world, it is unacceptable for the people to tolerate such atrocities against fellow human beings. We understand this reality intimately as we are living through it. I have personally endured enforced disappearance 2 times. Twice I was abducted and disappeared by Pakistani forces, subjected to most severe torture. This first-hand experience enables me to understand the atrocities inflicted by the Pakistani army on our people. Acknowledging our enslaved position is the first step. Until we accept this harsh reality, we risk dwelling in the delusions of self-satisfaction while Pakistan continues to play with our human dignity, national survival, and identity. Some may hope for a change, a revolutionary leadership, a new developmental or social agreement, but I find it impossible. Pakistan is not a nation state which are born out of historical or cultural evolution. Rather, it emerged from the partition of United India, leading to the historical destruction of the Baloch, Pashtun, Sindhi, and Kashmiri nations. Our true problem is not just human rights, but national freedom. Until we achieve independence, human rights abuses, including enforced disappearances, will persist. Expecting justice within the Pakistani framework is a waste of time. The Baloch nation is resolute in its decision and path, the freedom from Pakistan, even though we know we have to pay a price for it. We harbor no illusions of justice within Pakistan's framework. It only exacerbates our problems. We must unite for our national survival with unwavering resolve. The Baloch National Movement, BNM, is open to a joint struggle with all subjugated nations. As we know, our common enemy seeks to obliterate our national existence, and as oppressed nations, our unity can be a powerful force, allowing us to share our pain and problems. Together, our collective unity against this common enemy will ease our journey and intensify the challenges faced by our oppressors. Let us move forward, holding each other's hands. Together, we become a formidable force that transcends borders and boundaries. Let our solidarity serve as beacon of hope for a future where justice prevails, human rights are upheld, and the right to liberty and freedom is respected. I thank you all. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It's not working, I think. Hello? It's working now? Hello. Thank you, Dr. Naseem Baloch, Chairman BNM, representing our Baloch brothers and sisters. We are all faced with the tyranny of Pakistani fascist state, and the Pakistani generals are running the country like mafia. But one thing is very important, and that's a ray of hope that is emerging with the unity between oppressed nations. What we have seen in Islamabad yesterday, in the few days, when that long march was passing through different areas of Pashtuns, Pashtuns welcomed them. The mother and father of Manzoor Pashteen, they welcomed them at Dera Ismail Khan. So that's very important. That's at local level, and you can see that we are here at international level. All the oppressed nations are sitting here and speaking. Now, I would like to invite Zarali Khan Afridi, the member of PTM Holland. Thank you.
Today I am very happy that the Pashtun, Baloch, Sindhi and Kashmiri brothers and sisters, they are sitting here under a hall in the Brussels, the heart of European Union. As Dr. Naseem Baloch Saab elaborated it here in detail that the Pakistan is not a civilized state. It is not a democratic state. It is not based on the human rights. There is a violence. There is a torture cells. There are the internment centers that the Pakistan army is running them. The ISI is running them. Today, in the heart of European Union, the Brussels, we declare to announce that the Pakistan is not a civilized state. It does not believe in the human rights, because our today topic is about the oppressed nations in Pakistan and the human rights violations. Pakistan was not before 1947, but the Baloch were there. Pakistan was not existing before 1947, but Pashtun were there. Sindhis were there. Kashmiris were there. Now, after 1947, Pakistan, its army, its military, its intelligence agencies have occupied these nations. Their languages, their cultures, their economy, their politics, everything is under occupation. Even the freedom of speech is shackled. Yesterday we could see that the women and children who were walking from Quetta, from Balochistan, from different parts of Balochistan, they were going to Islamabad to register their peaceful complaint against the Pakistan injustices, its army brutalities, enforced disappearances of human rights defenders, political and social activists in Balochistan. The freedom of speech is very deteriorated. Even the people, the peaceful protesters, they were not allowed to enter. They were beaten. I was very shocked yesterday night when I could see that a man in the plain clothes, probably a sleuth from the Pakistan intelligence agency, he was beating the women, the children, the human rights defenders, peaceful political activists. Is this a state? No, this is not a state. This is a fascist state. Pakistan is a fascist state that does not believe in the human rights. There is no decency. I do not want to go to the history, what the Pakistan did with Baloch, with Pashtun, with Sindhi, with Kashmiris, with other minorities. We want to show you, to international community, the present picture, the yesterday picture. Pashtun staged the peaceful protest against the brutalities, the injustice of Pakistan, against the support of the Pakistan, the terrorism. The Pakistan has been supporting the terrorism. So the Pashtun raised the voice against it. The leader of Pashtun, the protection movement, Manzoor Pashteen, he was enforced disappeared, and until today his whereabouts is unknown. Only one time he was produced before a hand-picked judge in Islamabad, but later the judge, he gave Manzoor Pashteen to the ISI, and now he is in the internment center of the ISI. So the state of the human rights in Pakistan, this is very shocking. Baloch are under subjugation. Pashtun are under the injustice of Pakistan. They are being tortured. The women are tortured. The children are tortured. Even the aged people. Yesterday we also saw a picture of an aged woman, octogenarian, 80 years old. She was also one of the participants of the protesters. She was arrested and she was beaten on her mouth, on her teeth. So this is a state, this is a fascist state. And Pakistan has no democracy. This democracy is just a showpiece, just to show to the world, to get the dollars, to get the euro. So this is the pseudo democracy. This is under the boot, everything. The parliament of Pakistan, this is fake. The political parties are fakes. The democracy of Pakistan, this is fake. Everything is fake. Everything is in control of the Pakistani generals. The Pakistani general, I would call him the killer. He is on a tour and to the US. He is begging for the dollars, for the assistance. We also request the international community, particularly the US, the European, that these are the thieves, they are the supporters of the terrorism. They are involved in the human rights violation. They are involved in the killing and enforced disappearances of the peaceful Baloch, Pashtun, Kashmiris, Sindhis, human rights and political activists. So they are committing the violence. Now the Pashtun protection movement leader is an internment center. What did he do? He has done nothing wrong. He raised the voice against the terrorism. He raised the voice for the peace in the region, Pashtun region, in Afghanistan. So he is talking about the human rights protection and promotion, but the Pakistan is supporting, has been supporting the terrorism. This is a business of Pakistan. The terrorism is the ATM of Pakistan. If there is no terrorism, the Pakistan does not earn. So the Pakistan has been doing it, is doing it, will do it, but it is good that today under this hall, the Pashtun, Baloch, Sindhis, Kashmiris, they are united in the future, and it is a very good example. And I am very happy that yesterday, day before yesterday, when the Baloch brothers and sisters, they were coming to Islamabad via the Dera Ismail Khan, the father and mother of the Baloch, of the Manzoor Pashtun. They also came to welcome them. So it is a good gesture. This is a good sign. We are happy that the future of the Pashtun and Baloch, that's in unity. Our future is in our unity. We are united. If someone want to dissociate, to sow the seed of rift, the hate between Baloch and Pashtun, they will be failed. They will fail. They will never get their interest. So we are today together. Tomorrow we'll together. We will do our struggle together continuously, and in the last we will be the winners and the supporters of the Osama bin Laden, the supporter of the 82 different terrorist groups, the Pakistan Army, its intelligence agencies. They are the losers. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Zarali Khan Afridi from PTM Holland. Actually, these generals, especially the Chief of Army Staff, General Asim Munir, and the General Nadeem Anjum, the DG ISI, they are criminals. They have committed war crimes and crimes against humanity. I think they should not be treated as VIP guests of the West, as they have been in the United States of America, taking photos with the US Secretary of State, Mr. Blinken. They should rather be tried at the International Criminal Court here in Hague. So they do not deserve to be there. And Pakistan, a fascist state, doesn't deserve to be the member of the United Nations. So that is what the international community has to do. And now I would like to invite a very towering personality, who has been our mentor, who has always been at the forefront of for the unity of the oppressed nations, Sardar Shaukat Ali Kashmiri, the chairman, UK PNP.
First of all, I would like to thank you, PTM leadership and the team who hold a very important conference today and the title, The Oppressed Nations in Pakistan and the Human Rights. Before me, the learned Dr. Naseem, he is the chairman, shed lights on all the issues concerning with the historical nations under Pakistani occupation or administration. And I think he explained before you, although I don't like to repeat, but as a political party, it's my duty to say something regarding the regions. And the other persons, a leader, Zar Ali Khan, really, after his speech, all the words had been finished. What the historical nation under Pakistani occupations facing, what the Baloch nations, the brave women from Balochistan and all over the Pakistani administrations, what they are facing, and the state, how much violated the human rights, and also the suppressed all those and voices, which is dedicated and committed with the human rights, dignity of the life, and promoting the life and liberty of the peoples. But unfortunately, Pakistani rulers, Pakistani establishment is not ready to listen any sane voice. And even these historical nation was forcibly divided. Before, it was a colonial era when British we were, although at that time the state of Jammu Kashmir was a semi-independent, we are not directly ruled by the British. But those areas which is created in the name of Pakistan was under the colonial rules. At that time, the great Baloch nation was enjoying more fundamental rights, and their life, their liberty, their culture, as compared to Pakistan, were more protected. The Pashtun areas, unfortunately, it was a great game. And Pashtun, a historical nation, was divided due to the colonial powers' interest, and protect their interest, they divided Baloch nations, although it was part and parcel of the, sorry to say if anybody has some kind of reservations, but as a student of history, Pashtun nation was always one, whether they are in Afghanistan or now they are divided and under Pakistan. But after Pakistan was created, all the historical nations has lose their representations, have lose their basic rights. And I endorse, fully endorse their Dr. Naseem and Tazar Ali Khan findings regarding the human rights violations and the nation's commitment. Dear President Afridi Sahib, I again thank you who invited us, although it is our common cause, and we are undeclared in an alliance since many years. We are organizing seminars, rallies, protests unitedly, whether it's Geneva, whether it's UK or anywhere else. And whenever we organize any program, any conference in European Parliament or in British Parliament, all oppressed nation representatives send their representatives to present their nations. I thank you for this all, and I think it is the time that we should come together and make an impressive, effective alliance to combat against the draconian laws, the colonial mindset, and represent the new situations. Because now the world is facing many crises. Recession is there. Some countries are waging war on different nations. So at this moment, we should analyze thoroughly what is the fate of our nations. Because it is prime responsibility of the diaspora, Pashtun, Afghan, Kashmiri, Sindhis, Baloch, to come together and make a powerful alliance so that we can send a message to the rulers of Pakistan, the Pakistani establishment, that don't think that you can behave like a king. You are living in a 21st century when the world is coming together. We are in an era where everybody, every person, whether he is belonging to any nations, think about the future of the world. So now you are accountable, and the diaspora play their role as a diaspora Pashtun, as a diaspora Kashmiris, as a diaspora Sindhi and Baloch. And we are in a positions to hold demonstration in front of Pakistani embassies. We are in positions to hold conferences, demonstrations, rallies, unitedly to accountable for the Pakistani rulers who actually behaving like a tyranny. Rulers, establishment is thinking that they are ruling the peoples and subjugating them with impunity and killing the peoples. No, we will not allow them. And now it is the time that we should make an accountable for the Pakistani rulers. And us, world community, join hand with us, because it is the British, it is the colonial powers actually who created this monster for the historical nations. We are not against any historical nation, but we are not allowed any nations to subjugate or to suppress any other historical nations. We are not allowing any nation state to divide us on their own interests. What is the national interest? National interest defined in the human rights charters, that everybody is equal. Everybody has the fundamental rights. But any state who involve to invoke or to abrogate and did not ready to recognize their human rights should be accountable. Today, I stand before you to shed light on a pressing concern that demands our attentions, the plight of oppressed nations in Pakistan and associated human rights issues. It is crucial to recognize the complex dynamic at play, understanding the historical context, current challenges, and path forward. In the mosaic of Pakistan's diverse populations, we observe various ethnicities, cultures, and languages and historical nations. However, beneath this diversity lies a narrative of oppressions faced by the certain nations like the Sindhis, the Baloch, the Pashtuns, as well as the people of Gilgit-Baltistan and Pakistani administered Azad Jammu and Kashmir. The struggle for equality and representation and protection of rights is a pine chapter in Pakistan's history. And it is unfortunate that Pakistan policymakers have always followed Cold War era. Pakistan's state institution did not learn anything from changing geopolitical realities in the contemporary social, economical, and political environment. In modern epoch, at present, Pakistani military has controlled entire state machinery and created a hybrid system. That system has also created a space for black or illegal economy to serve its geostrategic interest. The exploitations of the natural resources of nations like Sindhis, Baloch, Pashtuns, and Gilgit-Baltistan, and in my native areas known as Pakistani occupied Jammu and Kashmir, is unprecedented. One of the key challenges resides in the legal and constitutional framework. While the Constitution of Pakistan guaranteed fundamental rights, their effective implementations remain elusive for oppressed nations. Unequal representation and limited political participation hinder the voice of these nations in decision-making process. And the involvement of the secret agencies and deep state in political and economic affairs have further marginalized people and nations under colonial mindset of Pakistan. Moreover, human rights violations persist, casting a shadow over the principles of justice and equality. Instances of restricted freedom of expression, discrimination against religious and ethnic minorities, and gender-based inequality tarnish the nation's commitment to uphold the dignity of every individual. To address these issues, we must advocate for reforms in the legal and constitutional structures, ensuring equal representations and protection of minority rights is not just a legal obligation, but a moral imperative. It requires a collaborative efforts from the government, civil society, and the international community. Open dialogue and constructive engagement are paramount in this journey. By fostering understanding among different communities and promoting inclusivity, we pave the way for a more just and harmonious society. Education and awareness initiatives play a crucial role, challenging stereotypes and prejudices that perpetuate discrimination. In conclusion, the road to justice and human rights for oppressed nation in Pakistan is a challenging but not insurmountable. It demands our collective commitment to fostering an environment where every citizen, regardless of their background, can thrive and contribute to the nation's progress. Let us stand united in advocating for our national rights curtailed by Pakistan and strive together where human rights are not just enshrined in the Constitution but are the lived reality for the oppressed nations and people under Pakistan. In this regard, it is our utmost demand to the international community to use their good offices and diplomatic connection with Pakistan to ensure right to life, liberty, and dignity of all those who have been deprived since the creation of that country in 1947. At the end, I would unequivocally demand that Manzoor Pashteen, a veteran leader of PTM, should be immediately released and all fake and fabricated charges against must be withdrawn. It is almost important to raise that from more than 6 months, the people of both peripheries, that is Gilgit-Baltistan and Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, are protesting against illegal taxes, levied in electricity bills, and withdrawal from subsidies on food essential. I firmly stand with the peaceful demands of the PTM and Joint Public Action Committee striving in the regions. Thank you very much, dear friends. I take too much for your time. Again, I tender my apology for taking your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Sardar Shaukat Ali Kashmiri. It was an impressive speech. Of course, we benefited from your insight, and of course we are heading towards an alliance, and it's the first step in the right direction. Now I would like to invite Madame Jalay Wali, PTM Holland, to speak on the issue from Pashtun Afghan perspective. Thank you.
If I may, we'll wait a few minutes for a picture. I couldn't print it. Somebody will print it for me. And if you want, I will go on with my speech, and then...
You start the speech, and then the picture will come? Somebody will bring it?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh. He can. Thank you very much. I will show you this picture, ladies and gentlemen, first. This is the reality of our lives. I think this one picture is enough. I don't have to say anything further. Our Pashtun mothers, sisters, aunties are in the same situation. This is a Balochi mother, but we are in the same situation. We are on the same boat. We are on the same journey. That's why we feel each other's pain very good and profoundly, actually. I hope this picture could be displayed somewhere, but it's okay this way too. And I will show you one more time. This is the title of my article, Pakistan, the Graveyard of Humanity. Pakistan is the graveyard of humanity. This article is yet to be published, and you will receive it. I couldn't take it with me today because I couldn't bring it, because it is due to some extra fact-checking and liable statistics. It will be published later on. But anyway, I just wonder sometimes, is it our voice, is it the way we look, or is it something else, or is it the geography we were born and raised in, that nobody listens? Our voices are not heard. I mean, I can remember the struggle of the generation, of my father's generation, who was a big fan of Pacha Khan, actually. He said to us, he would say to us that we will one day achieve the freedom and whatever we want. But I mean, the struggle is nowadays is more heated and with another dimensions. We are struggling yet for our rights, yet for our basic human rights, actually. Sometimes I think this conclusion, I think I will draw this conclusion from the situation that there must be some entity who has chosen Pakistan to be the graveyard of humanity, actually. it is not possible in human force actually. But then again, I do not want to be sound like one nation is nagging yet against another nation and the neighboring nation actually. But the atrocities committed by Pakistan is immensely. It is only the tip of the iceberg we are talking about here. Pakistan it's unbelievable how they treat their neighbors. I do not speak about the other neighbors because Afghanistan is the most hot issue, and of course the ticking bomb relation with India. That's why we can see why Pakistan is invented, why Pakistan is created in that geography actually. The degree of lawlessness in Pakistan is overwhelming. In particularly, mistreatment of Pashtun, Baloch, and the other minorities are sickening. As we all witnessed the amount of violence they attacked on and fired on Manzoor Ahmad Pashteen, subsequently arrested him, and some mistreatment of Mrs. Mahrang Baloch the day before yesterday. These were two brave people. They have one thing in common. They stand for their people. They are the voices of their people. And Pakistan oppresses both nations and all minorities immensely, like hundreds of thousands of enforced disappearances. Like every other speaker of the panel said this, we are just repeating, and we will repeat in the future as well, because it is not solving, the problem is not solved. And I don't think that in the foreseeable future it won't be solved, it won't still be solved actually. Like enforced disappearances, they are looting our resources greedily. There are extrajudicial killings, arbitrary detentions, and countless other atrocities committed by the establishment. One recent violation of human rights in Pakistan is deportation of 1.7 million Afghan refugees back to their war-torn country. The country is war-torn because Pakistan did that for the last 44 years. Pakistan was the cause of the breeding ground of the terrorism for Afghanistan, and they caused the war in Afghanistan. The country is war torn. The country is divided. The country is actually devastated because of Pakistan, because of Pakistan's policies actually. And as I mentioned, the devastation is caused by the establishment. It is profoundly regrettable that the Western world is using Pakistan as their dump for their failed policies. That's why we sometimes wonder whether they hear our voices or not, and why are they turning a blind eye on the atrocities committed by Pakistan. But anyway, and anyhow, our struggle will go on both sides of the arbitrary line, even if it takes eternity. PTM is the way of life. PTM is inevitable reality. Manzoor Ahmad Pashteen and his way of thinking is our savior, and that's why we will go on forever. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much.
And one more time, this mother.
Yeah.
This is the face of our nation.
Really.
Shame on Pakistan.
Shame on Pakistan.
Shame on Pakistan. Shame, shame.
Shame on you.
Pakistan.
Pakistan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your really thought-provoking speech, and the struggle will continue on both sides of the Durin line. That was the message from Madame Jalai Wali with the Afghan Pashtun perspective. Now I would like to invite a very fiery speaker and who speak with his heart and mind, the Secretary General of World Sindhi Congress, Dr. Lakhu Lohana.
Dear friends, first and foremost, thanks to PTM, who, because the times have never been good, but in these testing times, have organized this conference about the plight of oppressed nations, the subjugated nations, the humiliated nations, the enslaved nations, the marginalized nations of Pakistan. And today, when I stand here, my heart is filled with sorrow and bleeding, with the suffering of the Baloch nation, of the Pashtun nation, of the Kashmiri nation, of the Saraiki nation, and of the Sindhi nation. We who have gathered here today, what is common among us? Our tormentor is same. Our suffering is same. We are in it together, and we have to come out of it together. There is no other way. We have been talking about for the last 70 years, it's not today, 75 years. This didn't start yesterday or today or last year or this year or 10 years ago. It started from the day this state was formed. It is very, very important for us to look at our history, to read it, and your hearts will start bleeding. Forget about we belong to these nations. But for any person, any human being who has got little bit of conscience, who has got little bit of concern about the humanity, about humans, it is their duty to come out and support and help us, the millions of the people of oppressed nations. The other speakers, they have talked about the human rights atrocities. You talk about enforced disappearance, we talk about enforced disappearances, extrajudicial killings, taking our resources, deleting our socio-cultural values, our languages, even not recognizing. Just imagine. We nations, Baloch, Sindhis, Pashtuns, Kashmiris, Saraikis, we existed for thousands of years. They say you are not nation. They are denying our existence as a nation, as human beings. While, as I said, let me say, look at their ways. The Manzoor Pashteen disappeared. The way they dealt with the long march of the Baloch, women, children, elderly. Forget about us. Let the world to see. And I would like to get this opportunity that while Sindhi nation go through all these suffering and atrocities as you all do, there are a couple of things that I want to bring to your kind notice that is threatening our existence as a nation. When in 1947, Sindhis made 89% of the population of Sindh. And do you know what happened? Within 1 year, 40% of population of Karachi, 70% of population of Hyderabad, like close to 50, 60% of all the cities they were coerced to leave. And there is a systematic demographic engineering that is even threatening that we Sindhis will be even in majority on our historical motherland. And this is happening to all nations, but to the greater extent to Sindhi nation. And now they say you are about 60%. So from 89% to 60%. This is threatening even our right to exist as a nation. And secondly, there is a large scale. Say, for example, the military announced that we want, the country is short of money. Therefore, we want 1.3 million acres of lands of Sindhi people. And they recently landed, we are taking 53,000 acres of land, and they are taking these patches. While currently 40 million acres of agricultural lands, about 40% of Karachi lands, they belong to army, are their proxies. So they are taking our lands under our feet, so where will we stay? While my children, they are dying of hunger. Every year, more than 5,000 children die of malnutrition in Sindh. 70% of Sindhi people, they suffer malnutrition. And they are taking our lands, even the resource, the food, that the last resort. How will we survive? Now, one thing that is advantage to us, that this state is becoming more and more exposed. Now the word, because previously we used to say that, look, this is an army state. This is an army state. This is an army state. Probably many people couldn't see, but now even the international world, I mean, they knew it early. But because of their internal conflicts, and because states don't run on that, not only state, even if you cannot run a house like that, as the state of Pakistan was run. They are crumbling. Can you see it? They are literally begging for every penny. And as they are begging for every penny, they are becoming more and more aggressive. They want to take over everything that we have. They want to eat everything that we have. They want to curb every vice with more ruthlessness and violence than they used. They are becoming more violent, they are becoming more aggressive, they are becoming more cruel, and they don't want to hide. Because now, I mean, there are other military dictatorships in the world, but there is no, this is research, social research based, that there is no other military dictatorship is as controlling and powering, maybe it political, I mean, you see that, it is exposed. Economic, legal, everything, they just, previously they used to, we say, macro manage, they are now managing to micro level, even every minutest detail, and in that process they are becoming more and more exposed. Now, this state has thrived. It was built for the purposes of conflict. This is the only reason. They have not only destroyed Balochs and Sindhis and Pashtuns and Saraikis and Kashmiris, they have destroyed all the neighboring states. So look at Afghanistan. Used to be a beautiful country. When I was there 50 years ago, honestly, when I remember, what was Kabul? I do not know how many have you seen Kabul 50 years ago. I mean, such a beautiful, they destroyed it this Afghanistan, you can't really compare. They destroyed it. They destroyed Kashmir. They divided it. They try to basically run these religious extreme philosophy. They destroyed it. They are not only they have committed crimes to all of us, they have committed crimes to everyone who was bordering with them. Will we be able to bring the perpetrators. These are not thousands, hundreds of thousands. These are millions of people. And those people who have gone suffering. Isn't it our duty? Isn't it our duty to bring to these perpetrators to justice? To bring justice to all these people who have gone before us. To bring the justice of all these millions of people who continue to suffer humiliation, slavery, indignity, everything taken under their feet. We, the oppressed nations, we are 150 people. We are not a small number. That 150 million people is the larger number than any country except Russia in the entire Europe. All other countries are less than 150 million people. We are more than that. 100. We can do it. And we have to do it. Now, as they know, Pakistan's state knows they are getting weaker because they thrived on conflicts. Their geostrategic importance, which was purely due to us, the oppressed nations. Each one has got their slice or component of that is declining. Now, they are trying to create conflicts again. For example, when these military rulers, they went to America, they tried to woo again US, they need another conflict. Because if there becomes there emerges a conflict, they will get money. And that is how they have done. So, two things. I think at the end of the day, that the struggle for emancipation, for freedom, at the end of the day, is determined by the people on the ground. But in the world that we live, we know international community plays, and their support plays a much bigger role. And therefore, here comes the duty of the diaspora, because we are sitting outside. We have to generate the international support. We have to create awareness, because it's really very important to look at us and look at our resources. Then there is a state who has taken all our resources. They are using all that resources. And they've got this experience of intelligence agencies and operations and genocides of hundreds of years, not only during this after creation of Pakistan, even after creation of Pakistan, they committed genocide in Bangladesh, killing 3 million people, raping more than 200,000 women. So they know it. They are having a strategy. And the strategy is, number one, they want to crush us. And therefore, it is our duty to support all the struggles on the ground, to resolutely, against the odds, to stand up. Two, that although we all have been in very loose alliances, we have been going for years together. And wherever we are together. But we need to sit together, because in the world, nothing works without a strategy. The diaspora organization have to have a strategy. They need to sit together to have, like, say, for example, between the country, their memorandum of understanding we should have a document of memorandum of understanding. And where because things would happen. We always happen together. Wherever you are, we all are together. We never be. But there should be, when there is a saying, business has to be done like a business. We have to have formal things that look after, that follow, that monitor, that evaluate. And we need to have common strategies. In the next year, we have common protest across Europe of Balochs and Pashtuns and Sindhis and Kashmiris we should have. And as an objective, next year, we all the oppressed nations should have a combined march to Islamabad, telling that you want to divide us, we are not divided. They will try to divide us. They will try to divide us. They will put their provocators to divide. They will try, because that is the most successful strategy of the occupying forces, to divide us. They would like to divide us within our nations, and between the nations, we have to fail it. They will try to. We need to understand that. As they have been ruling through collaborators from our nations. Who's People's Party? People's Party are Sindhis, they're collaborators. And likewise, they have collaborators in Balochistan. They have got collaborators in Pakhtunkhwa. They have got collaborators in Kashmir. They are collaborators everywhere. But they do not represent us. They are their collaborators. And there always have been collaborators. So next time we have a joint march of Baloch, Pashtun, Kashmiri, Sindhi nation to Islamabad. Let them fire on us. Let them fire us. Let them stop us. But the message will go to the world that we oppressed nations. Enough is enough. When the people who do not want to remain in slavery, they cannot be kept indefinitely in slavery.
And I think we should also march from different headquarters of the Europe to the UK.
Yes, agreed.
In front of the
Yes.
Prime Minister House.
Yes. There is a saying that a cause is not worth to live for if it is not cause worth to die for. What can be better cause to live for and to work for, to bring our people out of this slavery, suffering, humiliation, indignity, death, bring them to freedom, to dignity, to peace and prosperity. And though it appears to be, the night is getting dark, but before the sun rises, the night will get darkest. This night is getting darkest, and this suggests that the sun will rise. The sun, let me work for that sun to rise, and sun to rise for our nations. Let me work for it. This is the cause worth to live for. This is the cause worth to die for. And lastly, we should never forget those who suffered, who humiliated, who lost their lives in this path for our freedom, for our dignity, to bring our motherlands and our destiny for our own people. I would request you to rise for 1 minute and silent to pay tribute to them. Thank you very much. Please, you can take your seats. So, I will finish my speech with this assertion and assurance that son of freedom, son of control, to be owner of our destiny and of our lands, is sooner rather than later. Let you work for it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lakhu Lohana. Of course, we need to have a march together towards Islamabad. All the oppressed nations, Sindhi, Kashmiris, Baloch, and Pashtuns, and another march here in Europe, and a march towards 10 Downing Street, the Prime Minister of UK. That will be very important in the days to come. So our next speaker is Khizr Afridi, PTM Belgium. Please. Be short, we have the speakers.
Thank you. Dear friends, from the day of the foundation, Pakistan claimed to be a democracy and respect human rights, an international human organization. But in practice, it is neither a democracy nor it respects the principle of democracy and human and civil rights of the people. It seemed to be a bogus claim. All ethnicity in Pakistan are being demonized and oppressed by Punjab and Pakistani army. The army protects and serves the interests of Punjab, and in return the Punjabis support the army and its brutal policies. The military policies of Pakistan is made by its military intelligence agency ISI, which has funded and supported international terrorism financially. Unfortunately, currently this terrorism has got the form of the most dangerous international mafia. The most terrible thing is that the mafia not only has a military force and atomic bomb, but it is also has a political and legal legitimacy. If Pakistan were a true democracy and the government was elected by the people, then this democracy would have completed it and has not ended in coups. Thanks to Benazir Bhutto's death, only Zardari government was able to complete its term in the last 70 years. All other governments have ended in coups and their elected leader were forced by Pakistan army to flee the country. What happened to the faith of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, who won the election with absolute majority in Pakistan? What happened to Bhutto and his entire family whenever he became a real public leader and decided to cut the army hand from the field of the politics? Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan, also known as Bacha Khan, had spent his entire life in the prison in Pakistan because he was fighting and struggling for the right of the Pashtun. What happened to the Baloch leader Akbar Bukti? Whatever he raised his voice for the right of Balochs in Pakistan, although he had served Pakistan as a chief minister all his life, who had terrorized and killed hundreds of Pashtun and Baloch leaders in Pakistan. It is called a democracy where when a peaceful sectarism is not allowed to take place. ISI should be asked about human rights violation, extra-judicial killing, extradition, kidnapping and disappearing of innocent people in its jail. What happened to their dead bodies? In which court they were sentenced to death, and what is going on right now with the women in these prisons? Let us renounce the past. What is going on in Pakistan right now? Manzoor Ahmad Pashteen, a real Pashtun leader who is the true interpreter of the inspiration and demand of the entire Pashtun tribe. His principles of the political struggle are based on non-violence policy, who demand peace and security and support the civil and human rights of the people. He complained several times to all Pakistani institutions in Islamabad, Lahore and Karachi about the ongoing extra-judicial killing, human rights violation of Pashtun, instead replying and accepting his demands. Pakistani establishment issued arrest warrant against him and sent him in the jail. It was a slap in the face of all Pashtuns. Unfortunately, this is the standard and condition of the human and civil right of the Pakistani government. If anyone allow himself to be disturbed by the fact that Pakistan is a democracy and support human and civil rights, he is actually deceiving himself. In general, we call upon all human-loving states worldwide, and in particularly we hope from the Western world that if you truly want to defend your values and principles, then you ought to stop the support of the government that are enemies of the democracy and violate the human and civil right of the people. Otherwise, the moral value of the West will be a question, and international credibility of the Western leaders to be determined. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your impressive speech, Khizar Afridi, PTM Belgium. Pakistan is an artificial state whose very foundations are based on the divisions of the nations like Pashtuns, Balochs, and Kashmiris. It is changing demography of historic nations like Sindhis and Kashmiris and exporting terrorism to neighboring countries. Now I would like to invite Sardar Nasir Aziz Khan, spokesperson of the UK PNP, to give us a perspective of the issue from Kashmir.
Esteemed panelists, distinguished speakers, I am honored to speak before you on this important international conference organized by PTM. First and foremost, I want to appreciate Fazal Rahman Afridi Sahib and all dedicated activists of PTM for giving us this opportunity to share our views. On behalf of United Kashmir People's National Party, we strongly condemn the arrest of Pashtun Tahaffuz Movement leader, Pashtun leader Manzoor Pashteen. Pakistan first barred him to enter in Balochistan and lately arrest him. We demand that he should be released unconditionally and immediately. We have seen in Islamabad that Pakistan has used brutal force against women, girls, children, elderly, who were protesting for the recovery of their loved ones who are enforced disappeared in Balochistan. Most of them extrajudicially killed in Balochistan. This is unfortunate. We historical nations, Pashtuns, Baloch, Sindhis, Kashmiris, are the victim of the colonial era and Cold War era policies. Our borders were arbitrarily drawn by international powers without the consideration of the local people. They created artificial borders, created conflicts. Due to these conflicts, our historical nations are suffering, whether they are Pashtuns, Baloch, Sindhis, and Kashmiris. This is the time for international community, especially Great Britain, to ratify it, undoing what they have did in past, divided historical nation, created artificial states. If we see in the history, there were very powerful rulers, kings, military mights who tried to suppress people. They tried to snatch their identity, their countries, but people who stood against their brutalities, ultimately they got freedom. Threats, harassments, intimidation, and blackmailing cannot deter committed and long-lasting struggle of the leaders who are committed to their nations and their land. Most of speakers, they have shed lights on the plight of the oppressed nations in Pakistan. I don't want to take much time because we are already running out of time. I fully endorse the suggestions presented by Dr. Lakul Luhano Sahib. We should have a joint strategy to present our case before the international community. There are many states who might want to keep this status quo, but there are states, organizations who are very much interested to resolve these long-lasting issues. which resulted the conflicts, wars, bloodshed, and marginalized secular and democratic forces in our region, and strengthened communalized and extremist forces and warmongers. We are pro-peace loving people, whether we are Baloch, Pashtun, Sindhis, Kashmiris, and we want peace. We want live with dignity, peace, and what we deserve our freedom, our basic rights, and we deserve that we should have ownership of our resources. Now I conclude this, and we should prepare a joint memorandum. We should present it to all international forums, international forces, international players, and ask them to help us to get rid of this position. I thank you very much for giving this opportunity.
Thank you, Sadar Nasser Aziz Khan, for your kind remarks and expert opinion. Of course, we will prepare a joint declaration and we'll send it to the all international organization and some countries also. Now, I would like to invite Mashriqwal Kayhan, the president of PTM Italy, to speak on the issue.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Good afternoon. Thank you, everybody and guests in the hall. Today we have the PTM Europe Conference in Brussels. The center of European countries. Since 75 years, Pakistan, a terrorist country, has been killing the Afghan, Pashtun, Baloch, and Kashmiri. But the whole world is silent. Terrorism is being produced in Pakistan, and it is a source of income for them. Last week, the fascist and terrorist army of Pakistan has put PTM leader Manzoor Ahmad Pashteen in jail. If Pakistan want peace, we do. So how they can make silent the voice of millions? So you impose sanction on Pakistan. From here, we call on the terrorist sponsoring army of Pakistan to release PTM leader Manzoor Pashteen and his friends from pure sense as soon as possible. Thank you so much. Manana khoshala hosege. Manana kuma da Afridi Sebna da Baji Sebna chi conference jod ko. Pader bakhan sar chi ma sar ke bas wuli ka lag sa chi lag lustimino der manana khoshala hose kamyab hose.
Thank you very much, Mashriqwal Kayhan. And now I would like to invite our next speaker, Jamil Maqsood, Secretary Foreign Affairs of UK and PNP. Please.
Dear friends, learned panelists, speakers, good afternoon. First of all, I, on behalf of United Kashmir People's National Party, do condemn brutalities perpetuated on unarmed, peaceful Baloch women, elderly people, and children in Islamabad. And they were barred to embark into Islamabad Press Club so that they could tell their story, but they were not allowed. The way they were treated, it depicts that they are some other people. They are aliens to the ruling elite, to the policymakers. In this scenario, the learned panelists have elaborated the entire situation which is evolving from the inception of this artificial state called Pakistan. We should now think and has suggested that the Sindhis, the Baloch, the Pashtun, and the two peripheries of erstwhile princely state of Jammu and Kashmir, the region of Gilgit-Baltistan and Pakistani occupied Jammu Kashmir, should jointly move forward. And as we know, we are all activists, and we know how to make a space in the global order, and it is not very easy job. It is not halwa. We have to be very steadfast, very committed, very dedicated to create a space in the global order. And the countries that are running the global order is more important. Some countries, some of their lobbyists, and in the era of information technology, some YouTubers, they call United Nations is a dead organization. Because they know who can accountable such a fascist tendencies perpetuated by the states like Pakistan. And the way Pakistan is treating the Baloch and Pashtun and Sindhis, as Lakhul Wanas have said, that their population has reduced. Whereas Muslims in India, they increased in population. It is the fact in 21st century. And same is the case with us. Our population was 4.6 million. That is reduced to 2.8 million. They are showing that they are 2.8 million in so-called Azad Jammu and Kashmir. They are changing demographies, destroying cultures, social fabric, and everything that a nation owes, including our land and precious natural resources. For social, political, economical, constitutional emancipation, we are all together, we are united until our last breath. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Jamil Maqsood, for your emphatic and very impressive speech. And now I would like to invite Malik Rahmatzai, PTM Belgium. Malik Rahmatzai. Thank you.
In the name of Allah, thank you so much for having me in this great conference. I would like to start about from history when Pakistan created in 1947. They start to genocide the nation, especially Pashtuns and other minorities. But in 1948, when they attacked and slaughtered the Pashtuns, more than 650 member of Pashtun, where they had a peaceful rally in Babara, and they killed more than 650 Pashtuns, which was the massacre of Pashtun in that time. Until now, this continued. Until now, the target killings are happening in that area, and they kidnapping the Pashtuns. Such examples we have Arman Lorna in 2019. They killed in peaceful tent sitting in Lorlai, which was after they denied. The Pakistan army said that was a heart attack, but no, we know that was the Pakistan armies who killed him. Also, this is a systematic killing of Pashtuns in that area. Like they want to blind that Pashtun Afghans in that area. Like they taking our leaders and they blind our nation because the leaders are the eyes of the nation. Like, and second time, they in 2021 and 20, Arif Wazir, they killed Arif Wazir and Warner because with well-known people that we know who killed. The Pakistan army, Pakistan government killed. He was the most important leader of Pashtun in that area, and the money of people was came for him every time to solve their problem, but they killed. That was target killing. Such as also continued, they killed in 2021. They killed other leader by the name of Usman Kakar. It's a systematic killing, you know. One by one, they're taking our leaders to blind the people, to shut our voice. And Usman Kakar was also the member of the leadership of PTM, but they killed him. Also, we have 800 Enforced Disappearances that Pashtuns are disappear in that area in Pakistan. But Pakistan killing, the target killing the minorities, but let me say the Pashtuns are not the minorities of Pakistan. They're making more than 20% of Pakistan population. They're killing, they're kidnapping the PTM activists everywhere in Pakistan. And last time they kidnapped president of PTM, Manzoor Ahmad Pashteen. That I called to on Pakistan government to immediately release him and our activists more. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Malik Rahmatzai. Now we have the last speaker, and after that, the coordinator of PTM Europe, Malik Bazay, will end this conference with his concluding remarks. The last speaker is Andy Verma, a journalist and a long-time ally of Press Nations of Pakistan. Dr. Andy Verma.
Assalamu alaikum. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed leaders of the 150 million majority, leaders of the Pashtun, Balochi, Kashmiri, and Sindhi nations, and all valiant souls who have gathered here. As I'm here before you in the Press Club Europe, in this hall of hope and resilience, my heart echoes with the cries of the oppressed, the unheard voices from the dark alleys of Pakistan, where human dignity is trampled upon. Every day, hundreds of people reach out to me, imploring for a glimmer of hope, yearning to escape the hellish gates of Pakistan, a land where being a human rights defender, celebrating one's culture, and speaking one's native tongue is a synonym with walking through the valley of death. The stories that reach me are not mere whispers in the winds. They are desperate calls from families living in perpetual fear, from mothers whose tears have dried, and from fathers whose strength wanes in the face of relentless persecution. The partition of British India in 1947 is a wound on the soul of humanity. This was just the beginning. The tragedy of Fatima Bibi, a young girl with aspirations of healing and helping, ended not in a hospital, but in the throes of ruthless violence. And Asif Mashi, whose dream of enlightening young minds was shattered under the weight of false accusations and inhumane torture. Ladies and gentlemen, the situation has only worsened. The rise of extremism, the ongoing conflicts, and a government turning a blind eye have fanned the flames of this crisis. The valiant Malaya, a beacon of courage, stands as a testament to the indomitable spirits of those fighting for basic rights as education. The human rights violations in Pakistan are not mere statistics. They are a reflection of a deep-rooted crisis. Over 6,000 extrajudicial killings in 2022. A figure that sends shivers down our spine. The gender-based violence, with 1 in 3 women subjected to physical or sexual assault, is a blight on our collective conscience. Today, as we gather here in solidarity, we are not just discussing policies or strategies. We are here to amplify the cries of those oppressed, to be their voice in corridors where silence has reigned for too long. Let us stand up now. Let us stand up now. Let us stand up now, everyone. For 1 minute of applause. For 1 minute of applause. We will make noise in the name of the 150 million majority. In the name of Manzoor Pashteen. In the name of the Pashtuns. In the name of the Balochis. In the name of the Kashmiris. In the name of the Sindhi nations. We must act, and act decisively. The international community must rise to impose targeted sanctions, extend unwavering support to the civil society, and raise a clarion, a call for justice. We must echo the resilience of those in the shadows, amplify their voices, and shine a light on their plights. Let me reiterate the powerful words of Martin Luther King. The ultimate measure of man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy. This is our time of challenge. This is our time of controversy. To the families in Pakistan who live each day in uncertainty, to the defenders of human rights who face the wrath of tyranny, know this: your struggle is not in vain. Your fight is our fight. We stand with you. We cry with you. And together we shall overcome. Let these words not just echo in this hall, but resonate across all continents. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. And I'm in support here today of the 150 million majority, the Pashtuns, the Balochis, the Kashmiris, and the Sindhi nations. We reclaim our streets. We reclaim our lands.
Thank you very much, Andy Womack. At the end, with your fiery rhetoric, your really emphatic speech for the oppressed nations. And now I would like to invite the driving force behind this conference. And I would like to thank Malek Bazay, the coordinator of PTM Europe, and PTM Belgium also, who have worked day and night to organize this impressive conference. So Malek Bazay for the concluding remarks of the... And at the end, we will issue the joint declaration of this conference, and we'll send it to the important forums like United Nations, European Union, and some important countries. Thank you very much. Malik Bazay.
Thank you, Mr. Afridi. سب سے پہلے آپ سب لوگوں کو پشتون تحفظ موومنٹ یورپ کی طرف سے پاکستان کے محکوم قومیں اور انسانی حقوق کی خلاف ورزی جو پاکستان میں ہو رہی ہے اس کے عنوان سے اس کانفرنس میں آپ سب کو تہ دل سے خوش آمدید اور شکریہ ادا کرتا ہوں کہ آپ لوگ بہت دور دور سے یہاں پہ آئے، ہمارے اس کانفرنس میں شرکت کی. آپ کی جو سپیچ تھے وہ واقعی ہی پاکستان کے محکوم اقوام کے لیے ایک راہ مشعل ہے. اور جیسے آپ لوگوں کو پتہ ہے کہ 2-3 ہفتوں سے پشتون تحفظ موومنٹ کے جو چیئرمین ہیں، جو ہیڈ ہے منظور احمد پشتین کو پاکستان کی سیکرٹ ایجنسیوں نے پہلے ان پر قاتلانہ حملہ کیا، اس کے بعد انہیں اغوا کر دیا گیا. آپ بھی وہ پاکستان کے جیلوں میں اڈیالہ جیل میں قیدی ہے. اس کے حوالے سے پشتون تحفظ موومنٹ میں پوری دنیا میں ایک ڈیمونسٹریشنز کے ایک سلسلہ شروع کیا ہے، جس کے لیے ہم لوگوں نے ہالینڈ میں، فرانس میں، جرمنی میں، انگلینڈ میں اور بہت سے ممالک میں اس طرح کے ریلیز کی. آج یہاں برسل پریس کلب میں ایک کانفرنس ہو رہی ہے. اس کے بعد کل ڈنمارک میں، سویڈن میں ہمارے ایک ریلی ہے، ڈیمونسٹریشن ہے. آج اس کانفرنس کے بعد 2:30 بجے ہم لوگوں بیلجیم پی ٹی ایم کی طرف سے ایک ڈیمونسٹریشن ہے یا پلس جین رائے پہ. میں آپ سب لوگوں کو دعوت دیتا ہوں کہ آپ لوگ اس کانفرنس میں ہمارے ساتھ شریک ہوئے ہیں. اس کے ساتھ آپ لوگ ہمارے ساتھ جو ڈیمونسٹریشن ہے اس میں بھی شریک ہو. بنیادی بات جو پشتون تحفظ موومنٹ سمجھتی ہے کہ پاکستان میں پاکستانی جو اسٹیبلشمنٹ ہے یا استعماری فاسسٹ ریاست ہے، وہاں پاکستان میں مقیم قومیں پشتون، بلوچ، سندھی، سرائکی، کشمیری، جن و ان قوموں کا جو استحصال ہو رہا ہے پاکستان میں، ہمارا دشمن ایک ہے، ہمارا استحصال کرنے والے ایک ہے، ہمارے مقاصد ہے تو جو ہے وہ تقریباً ایک ہی ہے. آج کے سپیچز سے ہمیں یہ اندازہ ہوا کہ یہ کتنی ضروری بات ہے کہ ہم لوگ ایک ہی پلیٹ فارم پہ متحد ہو کر پاکستانی ریاست کے جو یہ ظلم ہے ہمارے اقوام پہ، اس کے حوالے سے ہم لوگ ایک ہی پلیٹ فارم سے ہو کے ہم جدوجہد کریں. ہماری آواز ایک ہے. پشتونوں کے ساتھ جو ہو رہا ہے وہی کشمیریوں کے ساتھ بھی ہو رہا ہے، وہی بلوچوں کے ساتھ بھی ہو رہا ہے، وہی سرائکیوں اور سندھیوں کے ساتھ بھی ہو رہا ہے. جب ہمارا دشمن ایک ہے، ہمارا مقصد ایک ہے، تو کیوں ہم لوگ علیحدہ طریقوں سے، جدا طریقوں سے جدوجہد کر رہے ہیں. جیسے کہ ماضی میں آپ لوگوں نے دیکھا ہے کہ ہم لوگ اکٹھے ہم لوگوں نے بہت سے ڈیمونسٹریشن اکٹھے کیے ہیں, کانفرنسز اکٹھے کیے ہیں, لیکن فارملی ہم لوگ ابھی تک یہاں پہ نہیں پہنچے ہیں کہ ایک ڈکلریشن بنائیں محکوم اقوام کی طرف سے کہ ہم لوگ ایک ہے, آئندہ مستقبل میں فیوچر میں ہم لوگ ایک ہی پلیٹ فارم کے ذریعے جدوجہد کریں گے. اگر پاکستان میں آج جو بلوچوں کے ساتھ ہو رہا ہے, آج جو پشتونوں کے ساتھ ہو رہا ہے, اگر ہم متحد ہو کر اس کے خلاف آواز اٹھائے تو اس آواز میں ایک توانا طاقت ہوگی. اس سے ہمارے دشمن بھی اس کے کام بھی لرز جائیں گے اگر ہم کشمیری, بلوچ, سندھی, سرائکی متحد ہو کر ان کے خلاف جدوجہد کریں. ابھی ایک تجویز آئی ہے کہ ہم خدا کرے کہ ہم لوگ اس پہ کامیاب ہو جائے کہ پورے پاکستان سے محکوم اقوام, کشمیری لوگ کشمیری سے ہو کر, بلوچ لوگ بلوچستان سے ہو کر, پشتون لوگ کوئٹہ اور پشاور سے ہو کر سارے اسلام آباد کی طرف ہم رخ کریں. اور جو ڈائسپورا میں ہم لوگ رہتے ہیں, ایک بہت ہی بڑی آبادی ڈائسپورا میں کشمیریوں, بلوچوں, سندھیوں, پشتونوں کا ہے. اگر ہم سارے متحد ہو کر اس نقطے پر فیصلہ کریں کہ ہم لوگوں نے اکٹھے ہو کر لانگ مارچ کرنی ہے 10 ڈاؤننگ اسٹریٹ کی طرف سے, تو یہ پاکستان کے لیے ایک بہت بڑی جھٹکا ہوگا, بہت بڑا جھٹکا ہوگا. اس کے لیے بہت مشکل ہوگی اور ہمارے لیے ایک خوشی کی بات ہوگی. میں یہاں پہ فیڈیم میں بیٹھے ہوئے سردار شوکت کشمیری صاحب, سندھی برادر جو ہے, بلوچ برادر جو ہے, ہمارے انڈی مرمت جو ہے, یہاں پہ جتنے بھی اکابرین بیٹھے ہوئے ہیں محکوم اقوام کی, میں ان سے ایک گزارش کرتا ہوں, خواہش کرتا ہوں کہ آئیے, آج ہمارے پی ٹی ایم کی طرف سے کانفرنس ہوئی ہے, ہم لوگ پھر بھی تیار ہیں کہ اس طرح کی ایک اور کانفرنس کرے, اس سے بڑی کانفرنس کرے, اس بات پہ بیٹھ جائیں, اس نقطے اس ایجنڈے پہ ہم بحث کریں کہ کیسے ہم متحد ہو کر پاکستانی ریاست, فاشسٹ ریاست کے ساتھ جو مظالم کر رہے ہیں, دنیا کے ہر دروازے کو چیخ کر, دنیا کے ہر فورم پہ دوڑ کر, دنیا کے ہر فورم پہ ہم لوگ وہاں پہ جائیں, ایک متحدہ آواز لے کر وہاں پہ جائیں, وہاں پہ محکوم اقوام کی جو پاکستان میں ہیں ان کی آواز, ان کی جو بنیادی وہ ہے وہ وہاں تک پہنچائیں. میں آخر میں پھر آپ سب لوگوں کا شکریہ ادا کرتا ہوں کہ آپ لوگ آئے ہیں یہاں. آج کے کانفرنس کے بعد وہاں پہ کافی چائے پانی پئیں گے. اس کے بعد 2:30 بجے جسٹ پریس کلب کے سامنے فلاس جین رائے پہ ہمارے ایک ڈیمونسٹریشن ہے, اس پہ ہم لوگ تقریباً 1 گھنٹے میں اس کو بھی فارغ کریں گے. تو میں آپ لوگوں کو سب کا شکریہ ادا کرتا ہوں. شکریہ کے ساتھ اس کانفرنس کا اختتام کا اعلان کرتا ہوں. تھینک یو.